What's up, guys? I'm Chris Spags here, back with another Four Corners video for today's 7-game MLB main slate, courtesy of Osmo.com. Now, it's a reasonably short slate today, and one in which it could get shorter depending on how the weather breaks out on the East Coast. But right now, like this video, and let's get a little weird. Comment the guy who you think is going to hit a home run first on today's slate. So, could be somebody from the early game, maybe nobody hits one in that game. Get creative with it, give me your pick. But right now, like this video, and comment that pick of the guy who's going to hit a home run first today down below. The first corner I'm going to hit on is the one that gives us the most consternation every single day. The top pitchers on the slate, and Carlos Carrasco going against the Chicago White Sox is the number one guy today. He gets 3.6 implied runs against him, and he'll be the number one known pitcher on every site. 51% on DK, 29% on FanDuel, and 49% on Yahoo. Carrasco's strikeout stuff has been good with a 14.2% swing strike rate and a 35.1% chase rate that's converted to an 11 Ks per 9 number. The accompanying 5.3% home run rate, 9.8 hits per 9, and 42% hard contact are worrisome. You do have the White Sox 26.8% K rate versus right-hand pitching, which will help get Carrasco to establish a floor. He should be able to get some strikeouts, but he's given up so much production here. And look, yesterday, Blake Snell was a guy who on paper looked perfect to me. There was really no reason for me to go against him. He still ended up having a mediocre day. Today, on paper, to me, it looks like there's a lot of reasons to try to stack against Carrasco, to not trust him. I think the strikeouts will be there, but I think the White Sox can hit him. It's also a positive hitting park, so I'm worried about Carrasco officially. I will be under the field on him. I will have some of him, but it's been really tough to trust these guys recently. And Carrasco, even as a value, I'm finding it hard to fully trust him at a level in line with the field because he's going to be really highly owned today. Now on to Chris Sale going against the Yankees, who gets 4 implied runs against him. Sale's really rounded into form recently with 12.7 Ks per 9, but he is still allowing an increased 3.8% home run rate, which is not the best. The Yankees' projected lineup is substantially better versus left-hand pitching than their season-long results have been, with an aggregate 115 WRC plus and a 208 ISO. So while Sale can strike out any team, and he does project well, the matchup is less of a cakewalk than it may seem on paper. Watch the weather as this one gets up to lock, because that rain there can be an issue, but I think Sale looks good to me. I prefer him to Carrasco overall. He's a little bit higher priced though, so you have to find some ways to get there. But right now I'm getting a comparable amount of both Sale and Carrasco in the optimizations I've done so far. And Hyun-Jin Ryu going against the Mets gets 3.1 implied runs against him, which is the lowest on today's slate. And Ryu is the highest priced pitcher. It is a tough pill to swallow given he's got a low 8.5 K per 9 and 11.2% swing strike rate. The Mets projected lineup offers a 27.7% aggregate K rate, so there is some upside for Ryu, but it's a tough price to pay on paper with Carrasco and Sale projected as better values. Ryu's very much a tournament pitcher. He has had some down games. He also had some monster upside games, just under 40 fantasy points. So I don't mind getting to Ryu as a pivot to both Carrasco and Sale, but I think I'm going to have less of him than both guys because I'm really not sure I'm confident enough in his value. On to our next corner, the top stacks on today's slate. And a Texas stack going against Jacob Junis is one of the better ones you'll find. They get 5.6 implied runs for them, which is a slate high. And Junis has allowed 10 hits per 9, 42.2% hard contact, and a 3.7% home run rate, which can be problematic at Texas. The weather's heating up in Texas, and that should help out as well. But the entire lineup has pop worth the elevated prices, with only Elvis Andrus and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa the only players not over a 3.2% home run rate versus right-hand pitching. Junis can give it up, and Texas has been a lot better hitting team versus right-hand pitching on the year. You're paying a premium to get there, but it's worth it. The weather's heating up, and the park factors are going to favor them as well. A Dodgers stack going against Jason Vargas also interests me with 5.4 implied runs in their favor. Vargas is pretty much a disaster waiting to happen with a 7.6% swing strike rate and 49% hard contact allowed. The prices are reasonable for the Dodgers for everybody besides Cody Bellinger, and a lefty-heavy lineup can still hit Vargas with his iffy 7.4 Ks per 9 and 41% hard contact allowed to lefties. Again, the spot here, this Dodgers team is hitting well. Vargas has shown nothing on the year. He hasn't shown any signs of improvement or signs of life. I think it's a good spot to go to the Dodgers, and the ownership will be there for the most part for them. And there's also one-off I'll talk about later who I like a good amount as well as a value play. And a Cleveland stack versus Manny Benuelos should also be popular today with 4.9 implied runs for them. Benuelos has struck guys out with 9.3 Ks per 9, but he also allows a slate high 11.3 hits per 9 and a 6.2% home run rate this year. Cleveland's been bad versus left-hand pitching, but Francisco Lindor, Carlos Santana, and Jordan Luplow are all above a 3.7% home run rate versus left-hand pitching. They're also in a positive hitting park, one of the better hitting parks overall in the league, which should help all the underachieving bats like the super slumping Jose Ramirez. I'm probably going to have less Ramirez because he's going to be very chalky, but overall I think the stack here is appealing. I will have some exposure to them, and I really do think that Benuelos is a guy who's going to give up production, even if he does find some strikeouts. On to our next corner, the lower owned options on today's slate. The Milwaukee stack going against Joe Musgrove is one of those teams who pops out to me. They get 4.7 implied runs for them, and Musgrove struggles versus lefties with 10.5 hits per 9 allowed, and just 6.7 Ks per 9 can be deadly versus Milwaukee. The stack projects for low ownership despite a positive hitting park, and guys like Christian Yelich, Mike Moustakas, Yasmani Grandal, and Eric Thames who could feast versus Musgrove's lefty weaknesses. This Milwaukee team has a ton of pop. They're a stack I like to get to a lot whenever they're low owned, and I think you are paying a premium for Yelich, who's a guy I'll talk a little bit more about later, but I think it's a good spot here to go to the Brewers. They are a team here who has a ton of power and can break a slate if things go their way. Mike Minor going against Kansas City is also a somewhat interesting option with 4.4 implied runs against him. It's not an ideal price for Minor, but Kansas City has really struggled with 68 WRC plus and a 122 ISO versus left-hand pitching. Minor is limited damage with a 1.13 whip and 7.4 hits per 9 allowed. He does offer a bit of strikeout upside with his 9.2 Ks per 9. I think you would want to have him in a situation in which the other high-priced pitchers get bombed. I think it's a similar situation for Charlie Morton as well going against Minnesota, but Minnesota's a much better hitting team. I think the spot here for Mike Minor, he seems safe to me, which I think has some value. The run total, not the best, but Minor is a guy who limits damage well enough where I might have some exposure to him just in case Carrasco, Sale, and Ryu have bad days. Felix Pena going against Seattle is also interesting, mostly because it's a shortish slate with 4.7 implied runs against him. Seattle has worrisome power, but again, on a short slate, Pena can get some strikeouts with 8.7 Ks per 9, and he's limited damage fairly well with just a 0.96 whip on the year. Seattle's stack is viable as well with Mitch Haniger, Dan Vogelbach, and Edwin Encarnacion all over a 4.8% home run rate versus right-hand pitching. But again, a shortish slate means both sides of the equation can be useful. You just want to differentiate in some spots, and I think having both sides of this equation here, Felix Pena can get it done. Seattle can also really rake him over the coals, so I'll have both sides of this one in the hopes that one of them pops out. And a Boston stack versus J.A. Happ also interests me with 4.6 implied runs for them. There are high prices for Boston, which will keep the ownership down. Well, Happ has been hapless, get it? With 5.8% home run rate on the year and just 7.7 Ks per 9. The weather's currently a concern in the game, as I mentioned, for Chris Sale, and if so, I think you could sub in a Minnesota stack here as the one I'm thinking about, but a ton of potential for Boston's lineup here with the 5 righties leading off are all above a 213 ISO versus left-hand pitching. Again, Happ's been really bad on the year, and I think Boston, people aren't going to get there because of the prices. People may not get there as well because of the weather concerns. A lot of reasons to go to Boston today, assuming this game does go off. And now on to our last corner, the one-offs, and Chris Taylor going against Jason Vargas is the Dodger I intimated about earlier. He's got dual position eligibility. He's at an extremely affordable price, which makes him an interesting paydown option, given that he's got a 204 ISO versus left-hand pitching, and Vargas has a litany of struggles versus righties with a 5.2 xFIP and a 4.6% home run rate allowed. Taylor's cheap. He has some pop. He should have some guys on base in front of him. I think it's a spot here where Taylor is worth some exposure today, and he also could help you save some money to get some of the higher priced bats. Jordan Luplow versus Manny Banuelos also interests me, with Luplow looking to be the lowest owned part of Cleveland stacks despite decent value, and also a 354 ISO and a 7.7% home run rate versus left-hand pitching. Not the biggest sample size for Luplow, but he's been one of the few Cleveland hitters who's actually had some pop and had some success on the year, so I like Luplow as a one-off, even though that Cleveland stack also pretty appealing, but more so as a mini stack, I think. I talked about the Brewers stack, but Christian Yelich going against Joe Musgrove is the one-off I like the most there. If you have to ask his price, you probably can't afford him, but he could have a monster day with his 179 WRC plus and a 7.1% home run rate going against Musgrove, whose lefty issues I talked about, and also Pittsburgh Park, whose park factors allow dramatic increases in doubles and triples. Yelich can hit home runs. He can do a lot of great hitting things on the field. Not a shocker there, but Yelich is really strong today. If you can afford him, if you can get to his price today, I think he could have a monster day at very low ownership. So there are my thoughts for today's kind of short, kind of weird slate, but like this video right now, comment which guy you think is going to hit a home run first on today's slate. Doesn't matter how many he hits, doesn't matter where in the order he hits, just whoever's going to do it first, you tell me who it is, and if you're right, you'll get a special shout out in tomorrow's video. And unfortunately, from yesterday's Four Corners video, nobody got it right. Pete Alonso, the only guy to hit a double dong in the league, so lots of great picks in there. Unfortunately, none of them panned out. When in doubt, go with the polar bear, go with Pete Alonso. And use that promo code SWITCHANDHEDGE for half off your first month of any Osmo.com package. All the ownership projections, the rankings, all the data here that I talk about, the top stacks tool, lots of ways to make you better with building lineups. We're also doing a giveaway right now on our @Osmo_com Twitter handle, so go check that out. It's a 1 year of all access premium membership to Osmo.com. All you have to do is be the one who guesses the combined total of today's game 1 of the NBA Finals. So just go to the @Osmo_com Twitter. There's details there on how to enter. But if you do that, you'll get that 1 year of all access membership and also a one-on-one coaching session with Osmo, who is the top DFS player in the world for a very good reason. That's a helpful prize to get as well. No price on that one, a priceless prize to have. But go check it out, support us, go follow the handle, go check out that pinned tweet on @Osmo_com. I'll be back on our MLB Live Before Lock show tonight, so subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know when we go live. And of course, I'll be back tomorrow with another Four Corners video, so good luck.